Back, ladies and gentlemen, here discussing, again, basically what I was talking about the other day with the U.S. soccer license. And I, want to reaffirm up, some of the stuff that I was saying before and some other stuff that I kind of realized along the way with it, which is very interesting. And I think it'll add maybe some credibility to this. And again, I'll start off by saying, I think the content that they're trying to produce is great. Because I think, if you're a coach that really wants to get to a higher level and you don't want to coach, say, at youth anymore, or maybe you want to coach at an MLS academy or college or get to the MLS or above that, and I think what they're trying to do is teach you how to be a coach at a higher level. I think that all that information is great. Now, if you're a coach that's going to stay in grassroots and be in grassroots, I don't feel like it's a great fit for you. And the reason for that is because if 90+% of the country's level is very low, then you're not going to achieve very well the success that U.S. Soccer is looking for you to achieve with these licenses. Because let's use the C license that I'm in right now. All right, and I'm in grassroots. And being in grassroots, I would say 70 to 80% of the teams that we work with, there's almost no way to apply with this course material to, if you were to take the entire packaging of it, to your group, because the level's not there. Now, I have 20 to 30% groups that potentially could use this, no problem. I think that's entirely possible. But being a group that, if you take a group that just doesn't have the skills that I was talking about before, the core skill, the dribbling skill, the 1v1 skill, the passing skill, and the receiving skill, then trying to achieve those details, again, I've said it before, is, I don't want to say impossible, but it's close to impossible because they're just not good enough players. You have to have good players to be able to do that. And so, it seems to me that U.S. Soccer looks at it from a standpoint of, well, we have the players like Brazilian players or French players or English players or Spanish players or German players, youth. We don't have that culture yet. We don't have kids that are born into football. We have kids that are brought into football. It's really soccer, but brought into soccer. And they start at 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, whenever they start. And if you think about the cultural differences, you take a kid from Brazil, the day that he's born or she's born, she's literally brought into the game. So mom and dad might play or an older brother might play. So they're constantly around the game from birth. And then of course, basically everybody that they're seeing, because football's the primary sport, is football. That's all they're watching. Obviously it's not all they're watching, but I think you get the point of what I'm trying to say is they're consuming so much football from those such early years, from birth, I talked in my playbook, to 3, 4 years old. And then our kids are starting soccer and they've probably never watched more than probably 10 games, and that's probably me being generous unless they're born into football. Then they're watching maybe 10 games by the time they start kicking a ball for the first time. Well, again, if you look at Brazil or France or whatever country, those kids are basically born with a ball and they start the process of loving the game and loving the ball and all those kind of concepts. And of course, if you go to Brazil, you could go on the street and find 10 to 15 players like that have level, and you're going to be able to get good players. Of course, here, I can't walk down the street, go to a club and guarantee, a field, and guarantee that I'm going to find 15 good players, all the same age group. Or at least close to the same age group. Because the C course is for 13 plus. So that's the challenge I think we have in this country is, I think U.S. Soccer is trying to put everybody on that platform. Hey, here's the pathway if you want to get to a higher level of coaching. You want to go coach college and you want to go coach pro and you want to be in an MLS academy or whatever you're looking to do. But if you're in the grassroots like I am, and you're not working typically with the best players, because a lot of guys, I said this on the other video, a lot of guys in the C course are second team coaches or third team or fourth team or whatever team they're coaching. They're not coaching the top team at their clubs. So they're not working with the cream of the crop players in their program. They're working with low-level kids. So I think that's where this huge disconnect keeps happening. And I've said it before, I think there needs to be a specific course programming for grassroots. And I'll be the guy to put it together, that's fine, because I think I have a good success at doing that and developing kids in grassroots to transition them to what the C course wants. And I think you got to have that side first, and a lot of that would also be parent management, like how do you deal with parents, how to process with parents, and all that kind of stuff. Because that's, I mean, honestly, if you're in grassroots, unfortunately, parents are a huge problem. And I'll save that for another video, but it's just bringing up the value of it because, you know, parents are very hard to deal with. They're not easy. And I know that from experience. I deal with parents every single day. And the ones that basically don't have the experience of having a, you know, prior son or daughter, so like let's say their first son or daughter is going through the system, you know, they're a lot harder than a parent that's already had, you know, 1 or 2 kids go through the system because they already have the experience. And, you know, it's funny, man, because you got U9 parents that think their kids are freaking the next Lionel Messi, and their kid might be decent, but they're not that good, and they're all gung-ho and stuff, and it's just like, relax. It's okay. Be patient. Be patient. And there's just things like that, but that's besides the point. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing for me. I think the C course, and I'm sure the B, the A, and all those are very well detailed and designed for people that want to coach at a higher level in this country. I don't know about moving to, you know, outside, you know, to other countries, but I think it gives a baseline to help you build that. But if you're in the grassroots like I am, and the 70 to 80% of your kids, and there's probably clubs with higher levels than that, or percentages, they just don't have the level. Like, you cannot implement that, then there needs to be a whole separate program, because we are not Brazil, we are not Spain, we are not France. We have not even come close to winning a World Cup in 50 plus years, even though we might be getting closer. But, you know, we were here and now we're here. We're still not that close, in my opinion. I say we're probably 100 years away minimum. Like, we probably won't win the World Cup in my lifetime. Because, like, if you really think about it, how can you win a World Cup when you don't have the youth development structure? You look at all the best best countries in the world. They all have very good development structures. They are producing talent throughout the country every single year. They're top exporters of talent. France, England, Brazil, Argentina. I mean, pick a country. They're developing kids to get to the professional level on a consistent basis at a very high level. We don't have that yet. So how can we expect to win a World Cup when we haven't even fixed our home structure? So that's where I think this comes into play and needs to be done, because there needs to be a programming, and I will do that. I'll take care of it. It's going to take me some time, but I'll get it done, where people can have a platform to develop kids in grassroots to get them ready for the C license, because I think that's great. Like, the C license is designed for 13 to 17. Great. B license, I'm sure, is something similar. A license is going to be, you know, higher level than that. Fine. Okay, but the point is, like I said, you have to be able to implement what is in the C license, in the B license, the A license, because you have to have the players to do so. If you don't have the players, you can't implement what's done in the C license because the players are not good enough. And so, like, that's where the grassroots stuff comes in. Imagine if we're able to, you know, from, again, 5 to 12, build the players so that way we can actually implement what? And I'm saying consistently across the country. I'm not talking about how do I explain this? I'm talking about not just in my area in Orlando. I'm talking about across the country where it's consistent with players being developed and being produced. And once we have that consistency, then we can say, you know what? We're ready to put these kids on the path for what the C and the B and the A licenses are teaching. And then we'll have a much better chance in 20 or 30 years to actually win a World Cup, because you have to develop the kids. So let's say it's a 5-year-old. You start the process with the under 5s. They go through to the 12s. That's 7 years. So if I were to finish this grassroots stuff tomorrow, it would take 7 years to see the full implementation from the 5-year-olds through to 12. So that's a 7-year process. And then they start at 13, the next part, which is not a bad thing, by the way. I think it's good. It's just not fit for purpose yet because we don't have the consistency of players being developed, and that's where the miss is, in my opinion. So hopefully that makes sense. I will see you guys in a future video, and if you like the content I'm sharing, please, do me a favor. Like, I'm putting a lot of stuff out there for you guys. I mean, 3, 4, 5 years of work that I'm putting together for you. I would greatly appreciate if you could share this with somebody and let them know that this stuff is available for free, because it's 100% accessible to people, to everybody. Anyways, guys, see you in a future video. Thank you so much.